Hello everybody, welcome to your 19th tip of the week. This week we're going to be talking about how to use vehicles in late game. So let's go through all the factions and their light vehicles, the typical units you'd probably use. So with Austere, you just have two really, which is the 222 and the half track. Soviets, the M3, the M5 and the T70. Brits, the AEC and the Bren gun. OKW, Kubelwagen, the flak half track, the Puma and the Panzer II. You got the search half track, the infrared half track as well, but that only you use that in early game as much as you use it in late game anyway, so I didn't include that one. For USF, you've got the WC 51, 54 ambulance. You've got the M20, the AA half track, and the Stuart. So right, let's go over to the Austere to start things off. So in late game, obviously, in just general, light vehicles will get killed quite quickly, right? Because in the late game you'd be dealing with lots of packs, lots of AT guns, lots of enemy armor and that kind of thing, and you've got to be careful about where you drive them around because there might be lots of mines down as well. So that's to worry about. So when in late game, when you use light vehicles, you need to use them quite defensively and cautiously. So what I mean is, so for instance, with the 222, currently in this patch, the 222 is quite cheap. And in the past, I've made a couple of these units to go around, really far around and flank my enemy to kill a Katusha. I did that against Cruz in an ESL Cup match or whatever, so I made some 222s. And I quickly, brand new 222s, I made them in late game, and then I flanked all the way around his army where he wasn't expecting it from an angle that I hadn't approached before, and I managed to kill a Katusha. And losing a 222 to kill a Katusha is big, awesome trade, okay? So just, imagine that. So that's the same thing with anything that's quite cheap as well. So, like, even if you made a T70 or an AEC, or maybe even a Puma, or, a cheap vehicle in, late game, it doesn't even have to be a light vehicle, just something cheap to go around and flank an enemy unit in late game to try and take out an artillery piece, even if it's just to give vision so you can drop off artillery on, like, maybe his retreat point, or his his static emplacement, like a mortar pit or a ML20 howitzer or an LEFH, that kind of thing. Also, some of these light vehicles are very good at, you want to keep them alive, especially like the 222, because with the 222, when it gets to Veteran C1, it has the infantry awareness ability, right? And when you pop this, it will reveal enemy nearby units. So let's just give you a quick demonstration of this. Let's just add in some Soviet infantry here, and then make them our enemies. So we go owner enemy. Okay, so we can't see them right now, because they're obviously enemy units, but then we pop on the infantry awareness, and look on the mini-map down here, you can see that the enemy has been spotted. We go and also go into the tactical map, and yeah, you can definitely see them, and we haven't got vision of them, but we can actually see the enemy. And this can be applied with the 222, the half-track has the same ability, the Kubelwagen, it looks different, but it's the same kind of ability, it spots enemy units. And yeah, so they have that ability, which is very, very useful to use. That's why you want to keep the 222 alive. Also, if you have a commander that has spotting scopes, let's just upgrade spotting scopes right now. Spotting scopes, as you just see now we can see them. Look at the difference that because now we couldn't see them, but beforehand we couldn't see them. But we upgrade the spotting scopes, we can see so much more by having these spotting scopes upgraded. Now, in the next patch, this is getting nerfed slightly, but it will still be a benefit to give yourself spotting scopes, because you give yourself a lot of vision, and you want to keep this unit alive, because the vision is so important, because then you can see where enemies are flanking from, and then you can maybe line up your artillery in the right place, or you can give yourself vision so that your Jagdpanzer or your elephant might be able to fire in and take out the enemy armor, and they can't respond because you're using your range advantage, and so that's very good. So you could do that with a 222. So infantry half track as well. You can upgrade spotting scopes with them as well. But as you can see, they don't gain the same amount of distance as the 222. So you can see that's probably the half track's spotting scope ability up to there, whereas the 222 is a little bit greater. So you ideally want to put it on a 222, but sometimes it's worth noting, if you're moving a 222 around, if you move it around, move your units around and stuff, they will lose their vision, right? You see that? So if you've got your units with spotting scopes moving, they will not be able to, you'll lose the vision of the enemy units, okay? So you need to make sure that you always have the vehicle stationary so that you get the vision. All right. But that's why it is always worth upgrading at least 2 vehicles to spotting scopes, because in case one light vehicle, like the 222 or the half track, needs to move, the other one's still stationary and still providing LOS, right? So that's not a bad idea there. So with the half track, units like the half track, as well as in the next patch, the half track, the Bren gun, the Cooper wagon, I believe, and possibly the M20, and definitely the M3, they're gaining shared veterancy in the next patch, I believe. So this means they're going to be, you can vet them up easier, as they will, you know, when your units like grenadiers or whatever is also killing enemies, that vehicle will also be gaining some veterancy, even though they're not doing any damage themselves. That's what we call shared veterancy. So so therefore it'll be easier to level up your units. Though the half track levels up super quick anyway with flamethrowers. So we upgrade the flames. Now, the flamethrower half track in late game can also be very good, because you know, in late game there's still going to be quite a few shot blockers around, right? So here, you know, here's a shot blocker here, and our enemy can't see us behind here. But we, you know, and if we imagine it was like a house or something, we can easily burn and use attack ground and burn the ground over here. So even though, you know, therefore we're safe, we're not in you know, line of sight by a tank or you know, an AT gun that might appear in late game. We're using the advantage of the terrain to our advantage. So this is a good way to utilize a half track, and you can see the half track is already vetted up to vet 2. And he's only killed what, 2 guards. So you can see how quick, it's quite ridiculous how the flamethrower half track vets up so quick. So that probably needs a bit of a nerf, to be honest. But yeah, so try and use like the flamethrowers, you know, even like if you upgrade even on the Bren, because the Bren gun carrier can upgrade to a flamethrower as well. So yeah, try and do the exact same thing with the flamethrower half track. Sneak up behind like a shot blocker, something that, you know, your enemy can't see you behind, then just burn here. Your enemy might, if they notice you doing this, they might try and return fire with attack ground themselves through the hedgerow. If you see them doing that, then you just pull away. But you should be okay, because most times the shell will probably miss, and your flames will always get through. Okay, so there's a good tip with the flamethrower half track. Now, you know, all light vehicles are really good for scouting as well. So, like the M3, when it gets veterancy, also gets a decent vision bonus. The T70, also a Vet 1, it gains a huge increase to its recon mode. So that, you know, that's like the spotting scopes ability with comparing to like with the 222. Also, at Vet 1, it can cap stuff. Which is great. So then, therefore, if your T70 is doing nothing, at least it could be going back capping some territories once you've chased off enemy units. The best thing to use these vehicles is when, like, say if you've got some pack guns in support, or AT guns, and you've fended off the enemy armor. His armor can't come in. So therefore, your light vehicles have got free reign because he can't counteract you. And so with the T70, if there's too much on the field, there's too many pack guns, too many enemy tanks, then you can just have it in the back, have it on recon mode, and it can be doing, like what I said with the 222, like extra vision. The M5, you can upgrade it to a quad, so that'd be good in the late game to shoot down enemy planes. That would be very handy. So, you know, having, you know, leaving a quad in late game and getting it, the anti-air package, it could be very useful, especially against someone like Jove, who's always using the strafing runs lately. So this would be very nice, and it's quite, you know, the M5 isn't that expensive, so this is a nice cheap way of handling those off-map airplane strikes. Also, you know, M5 late game, you could just use a reinforcement half track in the back, just reinforcing your troops, so you don't have to retreat back to base. M3, again, like I say, it's a scouting unit, so you just rush it around. It also, with Bet 1, it has overdrive, so you can quickly get it in. You can zip out and in of territories. You might want to, you know, keep it at the back, because this thing will get one-shotted by a pack gun, right? So you need to be super careful how you use it. So only maybe if you see like an enemy sniper, you might want to dive in, see if you can get it. That's after you've maybe forced the packs to reposition to another location. That's when you might want to dive your M3 to potentially get a sniper. Even if you lose it, it's not a huge big deal. It doesn't cost that much, so you know, you might, you know, want to save it, but it's okay. Moving on to the Brits now. AC. Into the late game with the AC. The AC is still very good, and it can still easily pen the armor of like Panzer IVs and stuff and Ostwinds. Though it will die like in 2 shots to a Panzer IV, so bear that in mind. It will die quite quickly, so you need to have it as a sniping unit. You get in, take a shot, pull back. Do that when you got to time it so that when the Panzer IV fires, like say the Panzer IV is firing at like your infantry section, right? You move in your AC, You take the shot after the Panzer IV is fired, and you pull back. And by the time the Panzer IV, you've gone back, the Panzer IV is reloaded, and he hasn't been able to get a shot off on you because you've taken the shot and pulled back quickly, right? So that's all about kiting. You need to like time your push, because you can't get, because the AC hasn't got amazing range. I think it's kind of the same as the Panzer IV, so that's why you got to be quickly and careful. It's also got its smoke screen, so you can get it. You can pop that at any one time. There you go, smoke pops, and that will probably save your AC from getting destroyed. Always, also in general, you need to be very good at kiting with your light vehicle. Just vehicles in general. Always, when I say kiting, watch out for infantry snares, like grenadiers with Panzerfaust, conscripts with AT grenades, rifles with AT grenades as well. Always stay at a clear distance away from them and keep backpedaling. So by backpedaling, I mean like, you slowly reverse back, pressing, remember, the R hotkey. Keep backing, and then until the enemy is either forced to retreat because he's gotten too low health, or there's too much enemy infantry. Then you'll have to really get away. You need to be careful of infantry that has handheld AT like Piat, Zooks, or Panzerschrecks, anything like that. Then you will not really want to engage with your vehicles. Again, same thing with the Panzer IV. You want to let those Zooks fire off maybe on your infantry, because you can't prioritize vehicles with your Panzer Grenadiers or your Zooks or whatever, right? So their Shreks are automatically going to fire off at at anything they see. So it's best to let your infantry take that initial Shrek shot, and then you push in your little vehicle, take a shot, then pull back. Exact same thing you did with the Panzer IV, right? For instance, the demonstration there. So that's a great way to be able to do damage with your light vehicles and not receive any fire, because you fired while the Panzer Shreks are reloading, because they have like at least a 3 or 4 second reload time. So the Panzer Shreks fire at infantry, get in there with the AC or whatever, take the shot, pull back. Same thing with any vehicle or any infantry, that kind of thing. Okay. Also, Bren gun. Bren gun will die quite quickly in late game, but what you can do, if you've got this ability here, the designate command vehicle, we pop that on the Bren gun. Now this ability is very, it's a commander. I don't know, I can't remember the name of the commander, but a couple of the commanders have this ability, and it's very useful to put on a Bren gun. Because why? Bren guns are cheap, and when you put the ability on a vehicle, whatever vehicle it might be, it will make it a lot slower, and it will shoot slower. So basically, you want to put this ability on a vehicle that is going to, is not really worth much to you, because you'd rather your AC doing damage than the Bren gun, right? Because the AC is quick, mobile, your Bren gun's quite cheap. So then you can have this, and then you can have this unit like nearby your infantry, supporting your infantry, and have it like hidden behind like a shot rocker as well, while your infantry fighting forward, because then it won't be spotted. And then every so often, pop the plane, so the plane goes around the recon, so you can see enemy units. That's always good. And same thing as like I said earlier, if you decide to upgrade it with a flamethrower, just do the exact same thing with like I demonstrated earlier with the flamethrower half track. So that's the Brits. Oh yeah, one more thing. Next patch, this tread breaker ability is getting changed. Currently, it's super unreliable and practically never works, which is really annoying. But next time, next patch is getting changed. So hopefully, this will be more useful. And so try and use this ability. It has to be Vet 1, remember. So the AC needs to be Vet 1 to use this ability. But try and use this after, again, like the enemy tank's fired, then push in, do the tread breaker, pull it back, and then get everything else on top of it that can take damage, whereas the AC can't. So try and utilize that ability as well. Okay, onto the OKW. We've been doing this for 40 minutes. That's pretty good. Okay, so like I said, with Kuberwagens, infantry awareness. Kuberwagens will have shared veterancy in the future. So you'll probably see more frequent like Vet 4 and Vet 5 Kubels, because they used to be really, you never see a Vet 4 and 5 Kubel, would you ever, when you were playing a game, right? But now, next patch, you probably will. So you want to keep these alive. They'll have suppression at Vet 5, I believe, as well. So they will become like mobile MGs. So it would be very important to keep them alive. But again, they will die quite quickly. One AT gun round will probably wipe them. So again, be careful. Try and use the infantry awareness so you can spot for enemy AT guns that might be trying to... or even enemy tanks, because this ability will spot enemy tanks as well as infantry. So you'll always, if you keep popping it every so often, you'll know if the Kubel's in danger. A half track late game. Okay, so when it gets Vet 1, it has smoke, so that can help it survive. And also late game again, it's an anti plane. unit, so it can shoot down enemy aircraft, so keeping it alive is quite useful. It also is very good at suppressing enemy units, so have it as like a back MG, you know, kiting around and trying, you know, and be very careful with it, because it's quite slow, and you know, 1-2 tank shells will kill it from any tank, so you got to be quite careful. Any medium-sized tank. Puma. Puma's like a sniping unit, so like you know, you push it in, take a shot, pull back, you keep kiting around with it, like I was explaining with the AEC. You know, this aimed shot, currently in this patch, you can use it against infantry to take down like a sniper in one shot, but next patch that's getting nerfed and you can't do that anymore. It'll still be useful to like use that ability on enemy tanks to jam their turrets or whatever, so try and use it as frequently as you can if you can afford it. But yeah, use this unit as like a sniping unit, and maybe try and chase enemy light vehicles in late game if you can. You might want to send it around the back. But again, always be careful when you send units on huge flanks, because you don't know if they've planted mines on their flanks. So try and bring up a sweeper first to see if the area is clear, and then push in with your armoured vehicle. Panzer II. Currently, its coaxial machine gun is, you know, when you do this ability to give it camouflage, the coaxial machine gun, this little tiny machine gun here, will shoot and it won't be on hold fire. But next patch that will work. So you could use this in late game as like an, you know, and you can move around with it when it's on camouflage. So Vet 1 you get camouflage, and you can be like a scouting unit. So you can use it around. You can get around behind enemy lines, possibly with, you know, with this ability, and you might be able to pick up some nice units on retreat. Like, you know, you get around behind enemy line. You see, you know, on the front lines, like there's an engagement. One of his units had to retreat back. It was like one man left. You know, then you got your Panzer II behind the enemy line to take that unit on retreat, take it out, and just pull the Panzer II back before it's in any danger. And you probably could get away with that quite easily, because you wouldn't be expecting a cloak. No, I've not seen anybody utilize cloak Panzer IIs ever, basically. So, and I think next patch this will be a thing. So there's a tip for you there. Okay, so let's on to the last faction, USF. I brought the Major as well as the med truck here, because what you do in the beginning of a game as USF is you bring up your med truck round your HQ, and you have it healing casually. In the mid to late game, and then you'll get your Major out. Once your Major's out, you want to use these units in conjunction with each other to make a forward HQ, right? So you want to bring them up. Your Major can pop on his forward retreat unit, and then you can have your med truck nearby. You press the Z, and now every unit that retreats to this unit has to be in friendly territory. If you're not in friendly territory, you won't be able to heal or reinforce. So remember that. But now they're both together, it's like a forward retreat. Your units retreat back to this point, they'll get healed and they can reinforce. And you make sure it's in a safe location. So don't have it like out in the open like over here. Have it like behind a shot blocker, you know, so the enemy can't see it. If it does ever get spotted, your forward HQ, make sure you reposition it, because then you're asking for that area to get artilleried or something like that. So always, every time your forward HQ area gets spotted, move it. M20, same thing. Yeah, Vet 1, it gets a lot of vision, so you can be a good scouting unit. It also has mines, so you can lay down anti-tank mines consistently throughout the game. So that's kind of a good reason to keep it alive as well. So, you know, that's the M20 for you. A half track can shoot down planes again, like the flak half track over there. So that's, you know, that'd be a good reason to keep it alive in late game. Just have it in the back shooting. It can suppress as well. So, you know, have it moving around in the back lines. If you know, don't. It's never a good idea. You know, I see a lot of people like throw away their light vehicles because they want to get like more heavier vehicles out late game. It's all to do with like what you're dealing with at the time. If there's no planes on the field and you've got a lot of resources, there's no no planes and not much infantry, and your opponent's got a lot of tanks, then the AA half track is going to be pretty useless, right? So you might just want to throw it away, or better yet, just jump the crew out and you know, have the AA half track in your base chilling, so that you can recruit at any time if you need it. And then have the crew doing something else, a capping duty, and then you could maybe afford an extra pop cap to bring out a better tank, like a tank destroyer, because that would fill the role better. But it's never a good idea just to throw units away just for the sake of throwing them away to get better tanks out. And then analyze the situation first, and then do then act upon that. Let's do it. Late game. Next patch, it needs Vet 1 to be able to stun and stuff and do these aim shots and everything like this. But you know, these aim shots. This shell shock is very good against all types of vehicles. You just pop that on, and it can, you know, you put it on a Panther or even a King Tiger, it'll stun it for a couple of seconds, and that will enable your Stuart to either get away if it's in trouble, or you could use it to immobilize a tank so that your heavier vehicles or your AT guns can move up and deliver a lot of damaging blows to the vehicle because it can't move anywhere. So that would be a very good use of the Stuart. And I think that's it. I'm sure there's other light vehicles in the game, but they pretty much fulfill the same roles as these other units. That in late game, mostly light vehicles. In summary, they are scouting units to spot, line of sight. Give yourself line of sight. Cheap units to flank around the sides and take out valuable units like Katyushas or spots, so your artillery can drop on the enemy, and units that contribute to your overall army. So obviously, like your AA half track will shoot down planes, so that'll help your army overall, or the med truck will reinforce your army forward, or again, like the 2-2 with spike scopes, that's going to contribute to your army's help because it gives you vision, so your other tanks can you can set up ambushes or prepare attacks because you can see the enemy's positions. And that's practically it. Hopefully that was useful. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tip of the week. This is probably the shortest tip of the week yet. 21 minutes. I'm trying to reduce the time I do these because I do waffle on a lot, and yeah, I'm trying to shorten down the time so I get more precise information to you. So hopefully this was better. Sorry if I talked too quickly. If I did, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. If you weren't sure of anything I said, just type the question there and I'll try and respond to you. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.